Did you know that some of your favorite everyday items, things you've relied on for decades, could be quietly chipping away at your health? It may sound dramatic at first, but if you're still using certain common household products, you might be exposing yourself to small, daily risks that add up over time. The strangest part is how innocent these items look. Whether it's that cozy old chair in the living room, the handy cooking pan you've never thought to replace, a simple lemon-scented spray, or a familiar rug by the door, all these things can feel as natural to your home as wallpaper or family photos. But behind the scenes, they could be making you more prone to injury, irritation, or even long-term health complications. That's exactly why we need to talk about 4 specific items that might be creating a hidden hazard zone right under your nose. Don't worry, this isn't about throwing everything out or spending a fortune on fancy replacements. Instead, by the end of our conversation, you'll know exactly what to look for, why it matters, and how to make small, practical changes that protect your well-being, keep you independent for longer, and save you from needless stress somewhere down the line. It's easy to assume that serious health threats have to come from outside, like car accidents, pollution, or dangerous viruses. But for many of us, especially as we get older, the subtle wear and tear of our own household items can be just as big a deal. Maybe you've started to feel more stiffness when you stand up, or notice that your back aches after you've been sitting for a while. Maybe you occasionally find yourself getting dizzy from strong fumes when you clean, or you've had a close call slipping on a rug you've owned for years. Any of these small problems could be a sign that your environment hasn't kept pace with your body's evolving needs. And the real tragedy is that most people never suspect their chair or their cookware or their air fresheners could be part of the problem. They chalk it all up to aging, shrug their shoulders, and learn to live with the discomfort. But that's exactly the trap we want to avoid. If you can spot these 4 potential hazards now, you stand a much better chance of maintaining your mobility, comfort, and peace of mind over the long run. You might be asking, why does this matter so much to me? Well, the first reason is quite direct. Avoiding injuries can sometimes mean the difference between staying in your own home or needing extensive care. The second reason is that certain chemical exposures and physical strains don't have immediate, dramatic effects but rather erode your well-being gradually over months or years. And the third, perhaps most compelling reason, is personal independence. Most of us would prefer to remain in our own homes, living life on our own terms, rather than moving to assisted living facilities or burdening relatives. Eliminating avoidable risks is one of the best ways to protect that independence. Let's begin with the first culprit, the kind of chair you spend most of your time in. We often form emotional attachments to chairs. Maybe it's the old recliner that used to be perfectly snug 20 years ago, or the dining room chairs you purchased when the kids were still teenagers. But here's the reality: if a chair is too low, too soft, lacking proper back support, or wobbles whenever you shift your weight, it can be a silent agent of daily harm. Over time, you can develop poor posture, strained joints, and a tendency to slump whenever you sit down. Then, when you try to stand, you find yourself pushing off awkwardly, forcing your knees or your lower back to do more work than they should. That constant wear starts adding up. Before you know it, you can't get up from the chair without feeling a shot of pain in your knees or a pull in your back. Some people even lose the confidence to stand up quickly, fearing they'll topple forward. You might think this is an exaggeration, but every year, countless older adults realize their cozy old armchairs have gradually weakened their core and leg muscles. If you've ever caught yourself saying, "I feel so stiff today," after a short TV break, it might be because your seat is sabotaging your posture and muscle tone. Fixing it doesn't mean you have to buy a high-end ergonomic throne. It could be as simple as placing a firm cushion to raise the seat level a bit, so your hips aren't sinking below your knees. Or adding sturdy armrests that give you a solid place to push off from, reducing the strain on your joints. If the chair wobbles because one leg is uneven, slip a small wedge or furniture pad beneath it. Don't ignore the subtle signals your body gives you, like that inch of hesitation when you try to get up. Because while it might seem minor now, it can snowball into a bigger mobility issue if you don't address it. Next, let's talk about worn-out non-stick cookware, those faithful frying pans and saucepans you've used for decades. When the coating was brand new, it made cooking and cleaning a breeze. But over time, non-stick surfaces can degrade, scratch, or flake off. You've probably seen that faint chalky layer or tiny black flecks in the pan, and maybe shrugged it off. The truth is, once these coatings start deteriorating, they can break down under high heat, releasing fumes that may irritate your airways or introduce chemicals you don't really want ending up in your food. Most people assume if the pan is still doing the job, no big deal. But if you've noticed a faint chemical odor when the pan gets really hot, or if you can see clear scratches on the surface, it might be time to switch to a safer alternative. For some people, that switch could be old-fashioned stainless steel. Sure, you might have to soak the pan a bit to remove residue, but you'll have the peace of mind that you're not breathing in questionable fumes. Others love cast iron. Once seasoned, it can become naturally non-stick and last a lifetime. Some go for ceramic-coated pans, which might need gentler care but can offer that easy-to-clean benefit without the same risk of flaking chemicals. The main takeaway is, cooking is a daily, or near-daily, activity, so minor toxic exposures can accumulate over time, especially in older adults whose lungs aren't quite as robust as they once were. Replacing 1 or 2 pans now can prevent months or years of questionable exposure. The third everyday hazard is often hidden behind a pleasant lemon or pine scent, strong cleaning products and air fresheners. It's understandable to want your home to smell nice and fresh, but many of these commercial formulas contain volatile organic compounds, VOCs, or other chemicals that can dry out your nasal passages, irritate your eyes, and provoke mild or moderate breathing difficulties. The effect can be especially harsh if you clean for a prolonged period in a poorly ventilated room. You might notice a scratchy throat, a mild headache, or an odd sense of tiredness after scrubbing the counters or mopping the floor. Over weeks and months, even that minimal irritation can wear on your system, especially if you have asthma or any other respiratory vulnerability. A more subtle risk is how these products can linger in the air. Air fresheners that promise a constant, soothing aroma might actually be trickling low doses of chemicals into your home around the clock. You might not smell it after a while because you get used to it, but your body still reacts. If you've ever had unexpected watery eyes, unexplained coughing, or random bouts of dizziness, consider whether your chosen cleaning and deodorizing products might be to blame. A simple switch to fragrance-free or low-chemical cleaners, or basic staples like white vinegar and baking soda, can often address household messes without dousing the environment in strong, artificial scents. If you miss that fresh smell, try simmering some citrus peel or herbs on your stove for a short time. Your home will smell pleasant without the chemical overload. Finally, the biggest hidden trap of all, rugs and mats that aren't secured. Rugs add character, color, and warmth to a room, but if they're prone to shifting across the floor, or their corners tend to roll up, they become a prime setup for sudden falls. Think about your hallway runner, your welcome mat, that throw rug in the bedroom, or even the small bath mat in front of the shower. Maybe you know to step carefully around them, but one momentary distraction, like a phone call or carrying a laundry basket, and your foot can catch on a lifted edge. While younger people might have the quick reflexes to catch themselves, aging bones and slower reaction times can turn a simple trip into a major injury. A hip fracture or broken arm from a rug-induced fall can take months to heal and can create long-term complications. So what's the solution? If you're not willing to ditch your rugs altogether, consider placing non-slip pads beneath them or using gripper tape along the edges. Check these periodically to ensure they haven't worn out or peeled away. If a rug is exceptionally thick or prone to curling up, you might relocate it to a spot that sees less foot traffic. Or, if you can, swap it out for a thinner rug with a good rubber backing. The important thing is to reduce the risk that your foot will snag on any surface while you move around your home. This is a small fix with potentially huge benefits, since falls remain one of the leading causes of injury in older adults. You might look at these 4 items: wobbly chairs, flaking non-stick pans, strong-smelling cleaners, and unsecured rugs, and think, it can't really be that big of a deal, can it? But remember that each small risk piles onto the next. If your chair is weakening your posture day after day, or your cookware is slowly irritating your lungs, you'll likely sense the effects in other areas of your life. Maybe you can't walk as far because your back is sore, or you keep coughing at night, messing with your sleep. And the less sleep you get, the less energy you have to stay active, fueling a downward spiral. When we're younger, the body can bounce back more easily from these daily insults. But later in life, that resilience shrinks, and what used to be a minor inconvenience can become a serious obstacle. Think of it this way: every little improvement you make to your home environment is an investment in your future self. Replacing an old chair or adding a simple cushion could mean 5 more years of comfortable sitting and easier standing. Switching out that unreliable non-stick cookware might save you from chronic breathing issues down the line. Opting for mild, natural cleaners and fresheners might relieve that nagging cough that you always assumed was normal. And stabilizing your rugs could literally mean the difference between staying upright or dealing with a broken bone that sets you back for months. We often don't realize how much better we can feel until we remove the source of our discomfort. If you've ever suddenly replaced a bad mattress or a squeaky, unsupportive pair of shoes, you'll remember how quickly your body thanked you for it. That's exactly what can happen when you rid your home of these hidden hazards. One day, you'll notice you're less stressed about falling, your joints aren't so achy, and you're not short of breath after scrubbing the kitchen. You'll simply have a better quality of life in small, yet meaningful ways. Before we wrap up, here's the culminating point. No one wants to admit that their cozy sanctuary might be filled with silent pitfalls, but acknowledging it now and acting on it is a form of self-care that's immensely rewarding. This isn't about doom and gloom, quite the opposite. It's about empowering yourself with knowledge and small solutions that can transform the way you live. If you can catch these issues before they lead to a nasty spill or a lingering health complaint, you'll protect the freedom and peace of mind that come with living safely in your own space. So take a moment, maybe even right after you finish this video, and walk from room to room with fresh eyes. Sit down on your favorite chair and notice how your body feels. Peek at your go-to frying pan and check for scratches or odd discolorations. Open the cabinet where you store your cleaners and check the labels. Glance at each rug, making sure it's secure and not rolling up at the edges. You don't have to tackle everything in one day, but start making a list of priorities. Perhaps replacing a worn-out pan is top of your list, or maybe you'll finally add an anti-slip pad under the hallway runner. These small changes can yield a bigger impact than you might think. Finally, let's close with a simple call to action. Share this information with someone else who could use it. Maybe it's a neighbor, a sibling, or an old friend who also wants to age comfortably at home. Encourage them to take a second look at their own living space. And if you found this conversation enlightening, I invite you to subscribe and turn on notifications. That way, you'll never miss future videos and tips designed to help you stay active, healthy, and fully in control of your daily life. At the end of the day, you're the one who decides how you live and how you age. Even though some changes are inevitable, small and affordable adjustments can make a world of difference in keeping you safe and well. Don't underestimate the power of your home environment. It can either be your best ally or a sneaky adversary. By swapping out or upgrading a few key items, you're choosing to stay in charge of your well-being, preserving the simple joys of moving around freely and enjoying daily life without fear. That's one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. So, go ahead and take that walkthrough right now. Think of it as a quick health investment that will reward you with more comfort and confidence every single day. And don't forget, a home that truly nurtures you is more than four walls. It's a place where your body feels relaxed, your mind is at ease, and your future self is grateful for the wise decisions you made today.